Hello friends, Jenkins Dota here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of DotaAlchemy.com, and this is going to be part of the Dota 2 Advanced Mechanics video series. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Creep Aggro. And more importantly, I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks for kind of advanced Creep Aggro stuff that you can do. Basically, there's a lot of ways that you can manipulate the creeps to your advantage massively, and I kind of want to cover from the ground up here just because it's fairly simple. So what is Creep Aggro? Creep Aggro is basically just this idea that the creeps have this sort of flowchart for attacking things. Just like towers, if you've checked out the tower aggro video, creeps will naturally be defensive of heroes first. Creeps will defend their own kind, they'll defend their allied creeps, and they'll defend towers. So, if I walk in here and let's say I walk like this, the creeps are obviously going to hit me first, but then some creeps attack some creeps, these guys get bored, and they run over here. Like, there's this flow chart that exists with creeps, and it's super, super important to abuse that, because let's say you're an offlaner, look how far this creep wave is up right now, and if I'm not strong right now, and it's just me, 1v3, then look at all the angles that the enemy team can come and gank me from. Look how far I have to run to get to my tower if my team is going to TP in and save me, and the tower's not going to defend me all the way over here, whereas if it's close to here, then this is very safe for the enemy team because they have, they have the tower to run back to, they have all these angles they can go from and try to kill me, and just playing back here is much better as an offlaner. So being able to manipulate the creep wave in order to put it in my favor where I want it to be at a specific point in the game, then you're going to have a much higher chance of winning a game of Dota if you actually know how to do that sort of thing effectively. So with that being said, you could actually want the creep wave up here too. Let's say you want to push the wave. Obviously, that's a really good place for the creep wave to be naturally, because you'll get more vision up here, which means you can have this area to farm or something like that. So manipulating the creep wave in both directions towards you and away from you is going to be very, very effective. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is just the very basic, here's how you aggro creeps to you sort of thing. And most people know this. It's not like a super advanced mechanic, but like I said, I want to work from the ground up here. So if you run into a creep wave and you right-click a hero, an enemy hero, all of the creeps are going to turn and attack you. And that's because creeps are naturally defensive of heroes, first and foremost. So that's really, really useful for a lot of reasons. The number one reason that's really useful is because, this is how a lot of offlaners play. This is like mainly an offlane and a mid thing, but it's very unsafe to just sit in a creep wave and try to last hit creeps or something, because then this guy's going to go on me, his team's going to kill me, etc., etc. So what do I do to pull these creeps into a position where I can hit them and I'm not running into the creep wave, giving them these angles to go at me? All I need to do is right-click him, the creeps will go after me, they run towards me. There's a bit of a cooldown on it, actually. Like, you can't just keep right-clicking. So you can see that if I right-click him, the creeps are going to go attack something else, and then if I right-click again, they don't come in and attack me, and that's because it's like a 0.5 second cooldown or something. So all you need to do is make sure that you're aware of that, and you can off that cooldown, you can like pull the creeps, be aware of the cooldown, pull the creeps, be aware of the cooldown, pull the creeps, be aware of the cooldown, and it's as simple as that. So that's a really nice way to pull the creeps. Like, for example, here, all these creeps want to hit him, but for example, here, like, let's say, they're about to go on me. I can pull the creeps like that, pull just this guy away, and then if I actually hit this creep, since I'm hitting creeps, it's going to be defensive of its own kind, of itself, so the creeps will actually keep hitting me. So you can pull a couple creeps away and start beating the crap out of them, and then you're actually going to be alienating these creeps, allowing yourself to last it, because there's going to be a split. There's going to be the creeps up here, and then there's going to be creeps over here that are hitting you. Sometimes it's even dangerous to do that, and in that case, there's other creep mechanics that you need to abuse, but that is kind of like the number one thing that people use this right-clicking hero thing to do, is just by pulling like that. You can see that there's a split here. There's creeps hitting my range creeps, so these are two free creeps for me to hit over here. Their carry is going to want to last hit over here, or if he comes over here, eventually he's going to need to go hit these creeps. So that Slark or that Sven or whatever is going to not be close enough that this Rubik can go on me and kill me. So it just makes it a lot safer, and you can even keep pulling and then pulling and then pulling and then pulling and pulling. And eventually, if you get good enough at this, doing it off cooldown in a safe way, you can actually pull a lot of creeps into your tower and get a lot of last hits that you otherwise wouldn't if you were not doing this mechanic. Okay, so there's also kind of a counter to this mechanic where you can actually get the creeps to stop hitting you as well. And the way that you do that is the exact same way that you do it with towers. All you need to do is, let's say I pull... let's say I just naturally pull these creeps here by running into them. And if I just walk here, the creeps will continue hitting me. Some of these creeps, you can see the range creep is hitting me. If I want these creeps to stop hitting me because I don't want to take the damage, then I can just right-click my creep. So A-click, not right-click. Right-clicking will move you towards them unless you have auto-attack on right-click. Basically, you need to target an auto-attack onto your creeps, and the way that you do that is by A-clicking them. You can even A-click globally. You can A-click here, you can A-click your tower. As long as you A-click an allied unit, don't ask me why this works. It just does. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zap this wave out here just so the creeps don't take the tower, because there's a couple of things I want to show you here in front of the tower. Okay, so this thing is being annoying. I'll zap this too. Axe is going to die. I don't care. I don't care much for Axe anyway. Okay, refresh here. So why else would you want to get hit by the creeps? There's obviously that pulling mechanic, which is really, really useful for last hitting. But sometimes there's other reasons that you want the creeps to hit you. So the reason that I had the Axe bot here is because with Axe and the counter helix mechanic, you obviously want more creeps to hit you, because let's say this Beastmaster is Axe and I get all these creeps to hit me. I'm going to spin with that counter helix, and I don't need to use the Berserker's Call, because if you use the Berserker's Call, you're using an ability, which means the enemy team is going to be like, okay, go on this guy. He has no Berserker's Call. There's no way he can gain that armor. There's no way that he can use a stun. So obviously on a hero like Axe or Timbersaw, for example, these heroes really want to get hit by the creep wave because it builds their buffs. Like, that's what they like. But there are actually reasons for other heroes like Beastmaster, for example, to get hit by the creep wave as well. So look at this. See how there's all of these creeps pushing into me? But if I just literally sit here, if I sit here and do nothing, I do not attack the creeps at all, and I just let my creeps beat the crap out of their creeps, naturally, their creep wave is going to get pushed out, just because my creeps obviously aren't taking damage. So see this guy's hitting. If I right click the Rubik, then he starts hitting me, and now my creeps are taking no damage. So look, I didn't right click once, not a single time, and this creep wave is now pushing out, and I can keep doing it here. I can pull all the creeps to me by right clicking the Rubik. See, these creeps are hitting my creeps, so I'll just hit the Rubik again, get them to right click me, and look at this big siege wave that's pushing into their tower. So let's say the enemy team leaves the lane because you're winning or something like that. What do you want to do? You want to pressure the tower. How do you do that? Well, you push out the creep wave by hitting it, by using your, if you're Beastmaster, use the wild axes. But there's more that you can do. You can actually tank the creep wave so that one extra or two extra hits on the tower, you can actually get that by making sure that the creeps don't hit your creeps. Because see this creep right here? This creep's only going to take 2 hits from the tower. If this creep didn't take any damage whatsoever, that's like 4 or 5 hits from the tower. That's an extra couple of seconds of hitting this tower, and you could see the massive wave that I built up. I don't need to do anything. I'm not going to hit the tower at all, and the tower's going to fall to this siege wave just because I mostly set this creep wave up by tanking this creep wave. Look how massive this creep wave is right now. So there's very obvious benefit to doing this and stacking up the creep wave, because you can make it so easy to push this way. And then with that being said, sometimes you want to push it into the enemy tower because you want to get a bigger creep wave yourself. So let's say this Rubik is the lane support, and he's killing me non-stop. He's just super annoying. It's like, God, dude, get out of my lane. And he leaves to go pull or pick up a bounty or something like that. What I can do here is I can pull the creep wave to my hero, take a bunch of hits from it, and then what that's going to do is that's going to push my creep wave into their tower, which is going to in turn push it back into my favor. So I'll get creep waves here. So take advantage of the fact that, okay, the supports have left. I'm going to push it into their tower and then pull it back by having it go into their tower, and the tower beat the crap out of the creep wave. And then also, of course, you can use wild axes. You can use all of your spells to do that, and it's going to be, super effective for pushing that wave. I need to go zap this out with Rubik, actually. I'll do give bots blink. Come on, zap this out, buddy. That's a huge creep wave. Look, I mean, it's doing damage to the tier 2, for God's sakes. That's how big that creep wave was that I built up. I wasn't even trying to make it that big, and it just got that huge because I tanked so many hits from it. That's how friggin' strong it is. Okay, so another mechanic that's really important. I actually already showed it to you, but I'll show you another example of why this is a really strong mechanic. So if you want to farm very effectively in the offlane, cutting the creep wave and then pulling it to a camp is a really good way of getting more experience, because you're getting neutral creeps as well. So let's say that these creeps are hitting me, and I'm like, okay, I'm taking way too much damage from these creeps. What do? Well, I can just do the right-click trick even globally, and the creeps will screw off, and they will start hitting something else, as long as there's something else to hit. So that's really, really important. And then also, another mechanic with kind of the neutrals and pulling. Let's say this Rubik is trying to pull here, so he pulls the creep wave. All right, dude, you can figure this out, Rubik. Oh, this is awkward. This is a huge wave. So let's say Rubik pulls this, and I don't like that. I can actually pull these creeps away, and eventually these creeps will start hitting Rubik, which is going to hurt him, and then I can actually aggro these creeps onto me. Even though he pulled, I can get a free creep wave from supports who are pulling by just abusing this right-click mechanic. So it's really, really, really important to know. And let's say I want these creeps to stop hitting me. All I need to do is right-click a creep. They'll stop hitting me. All of a sudden, I have this huge wave coming into my tower. So make sure to abuse both the right-clicking of an allied unit and the right-clicking of an enemy unit to stop the enemy supports from pulling, to just abuse the neutral creeps as well. Okay, actually, I want to show you one more example here of kind of neutral stuff that you can do. I don't know why this works on neutrals. It just does. That's just Dota 2 for you. So if I go over here and I'll kill this guy, well, I'll do spawn neutrals. I'm going to blink this axe all the way up here. Oh, he already has a blink. Axebot is figuring out how to play. That's good. So let's say I'm getting hit with Beastmaster, and let's say I'm this axe player, and I want to pull these creeps without taunting them off of my Beastmaster, because obviously I want to do the counter helix. Then all I need to do is right click the Rubik, and this is going to pull the neutral creeps. So the next thing that I want to show you guys is just a way to abuse this creep aggro mechanic with neutral creeps to help you stop the supports from pulling. And this is really effective for both side lanes, because if you're a safe laner, you're still going to be potentially dealing with these dual off lanes that might want to be doing side pulls. So it's still important to understand how to stop those and get the most experience and gold from those pulls, because they're bound to happen. Okay, so let's say this Rubik is coming over here to do a pull through, aka he's trying to pull this camp over here to catch his creep wave after it kills this camp, just so his entire creep wave dies to the neutrals, and he's denying me a lot of experience that way. If he does that, there's a way that I can, if I just use the right-click mechanic on him, and I right-click him as the creeps are running towards him, they will defend him even though they're neutrals. I don't know why they defend heroes on either side. I guess they're just really good people. They're just defensive of anybody. But if I abuse that defense mechanic, I can pull the neutral creeps to me without putting myself close enough to get picked up by this Rubik and potentially killed by both supports. And if the carry heads over or something, you can very safely stop the Rubik from doing the pull. So I'll show you here. I'll set up a shift Q just to make it a little bit more natural looking. So just like this, if he's doing this, that's all I need to do, the right-click mechanic. You see how the creeps went for me? I can even keep doing it. I can keep doing it. You can keep pulling it, keep pulling it, keep pulling it, and he's going to be super mad about this, because if I'm here, he literally cannot pull it over here. There's nothing that he can do. He can keep pulling, but I'll keep pulling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He's not going to be able to get that pull off. So if you're an offlaner and you know this creep aggro mechanic and you see an enemy hero on the map, there's almost no way that the supports can do that pull through as long as you're there.